What's up, everybody? This is Justin Bass with a brand new podcast of Through the Fryer. I'm so happy to be back. It hasn't been that long. It usually is longer. But I have this amazing vacation time off from work. So I get to do more of this and also do a lot of nothing, which I have been doing, which has been kind of amazing. Because if you know me, I'm not an idle person. I don't like to nomad around. I like to shuffle my feet. I like to maybe whip up something from a recipe book. I like to go skiing, snowboarding, mentally, of course. Physically, I could never. But I just like to do things. So I have this amazing new job that gave us basically from Christmas Eve all the way to January 2nd off, and I am so lucky, and it's paid. Yes, a paid holiday, which I think will actually be the first for me ever in my life to have a job that pays me to be off. But I digress. And oh yes, the word of the day is digress. But yeah, so I'm using this time to actually do a lot of apartment hunting, room hunting, roof over my head hunting, which has been very difficult and extremely stressful. And if you are looking for housing and you have free time, you don't have to work or anything or no rehearsals, your entire body is encaved with looking at places on Street Easy, going on Craigslist, messaging people, getting all this stuff together, because moving is very stressful, and I cannot attest to the levels of stress that goes into it. But also, I'm a Taurus, and if you know anything about horoscopes, it's I really like stuff to be lined up, but financially, it's okay, I can pay for a pretty decent room, so I should be able to live in any area that I want, right? But I also have a dog that I love dearly. I've had for 3 years, that literally people in New York, they despise pets. If you're moving into a room that's already associated with people, forget about it. They don't want you to have a dog, a cat, a moth, a nothing. You better not walk in there with a fly trailing behind you, because they gonna think you brought it, they gonna think it's a pet, and they ain't gonna want you. So it's that has been the biggest thing. Then I'm okay, I can't keep my mind closed, because my idea was that I'm going to look for a place of my own. That way, that gives me complete security that me and my dog won't have to move every single year. But you have to think about it. When you're moving into your own place, there's so much more documents. There's so much things that have to be on point. You literally have to make sure that you're making 40 times the rent, which I kind of do for some places. So it's not awful. But it's one of those situations where it's you have to have so much more prepared. If you move into a room in New York, you just need first and security, and you're pretty set. But it has been a journey. Yesterday, I actually did some leg work and scooter work, and I scooted around Brooklyn, and I took down numbers from property managers and websites, and I did some online website, and I'm going to do some calls on Monday. That way I can, or probably after New Year's, and see if anything is available. But it's I was in this really great area, okay, I want to move into a place, but I don't see me rationalizing paying $1,300 for a room when you can find a studio apartment that's about $1,250. Now, mind you, a lot of the $1,300 rooms, that's not including utilities, so you're going to be about $1,450 for a room. And I'm well, that's you can have your own place. It won't be a big place, but it'll be your own place. But it's been a journey. And if you are like me, 28 years old, went to college all 4 years on some scholarships, the first thing that happened to you was that you applied for a credit card, like I did. And when I tell you, I have put myself in such a corner, because there is like so much credit shaming. Like, I don't care how much money you make. If you don't meet a certain score, they won't even take you seriously. And I did real estate, and I get it. There's not a lot of ways to tell if someone is qualified. I'm like, well, okay, if you make a substantial amount of income, that's great. But then your credit shows your bad payment history. But let's put this into, and this is me coming from my own experience, because I am in the process of rebuilding my credit as I'm making this podcast now. Because this is the biggest thing in a way. The worst is having enough money to be in any room that you want to in New York. But then you're being rejected because you have a dog and because your credit is kind of shitty. Now, mind you, people here are very straightforward, very short, and they want their money. So I can prove that I have the money. I can be straightforward. But the thing is that they don't want to hear that someone is working through something, or like they got an amazing job that will always be paid, and they're working on getting their like financials and stuff together, because, you know, who doesn't want to be financially stable by the age of 30? And that's what I'm aiming for. So I'm kind of like in this place now where it's like every time I go see a room, I'm very transparent. Like, look, my credit is trash, but as you know, I was in college and these credit cards never got paid. They've been following me like crazy. I'm now in a place in my life where I can pay them off. But then that's all gravy. And these people say they understand. And then the next person that's coming to see the room after you, they ain't got none of those problems. They ain't got no dog. They got money in hand. They ready to go. And you're like, oh, okay. So boom, no room. So it's like very frustrating because, yeah, there's ways actually to go around having awful credit, like me. And a lot of people have guarantors. Now, here's another thing. Now, a guarantor is usually a family member or a very close friend that makes 80 times the rent and has like magician level fucking credit. Like, if Dumbledore had credit, it would be his fucking credit. Okay? Like, a guarantor is like basically it's that person that comes in and that says, look, I know this person personally. I know they're good for their work. And they're signing this rental document and they're saying that if anything was to happen, let's say you lost your job, you couldn't pay a month's rent, that guarantor is going to come in and pay that. The landlord is going to go to that guarantor and get the money. Now, here's the thing people don't tell you about a guarantor. A lot of black people ain't got guarantors. Okay, a lot of parents, and this is not just a race thing, but this is a truth thing. I don't have access to a parent or a person that can be a cosigner in any place. Mind you, I make more than enough money now. But the issue is that, unfortunately, my humble beginnings does not allow me to have access to someone who can even qualify to be a guarantor. In New York, if anything. Okay? Because if I have to make $70,000, my guarantor has to make double that. So it's crazy. So the system is weeding out people, but there's no details in it. It's very straightforward. And the thing is that there's people that's paying these prices. There's people that can afford it. Those people, majority ain't people of color, ain't black people, and I'm telling you that right now. Okay? I just think that it's so crazy. Like, my first place in Salt Lake, I put a credit list ad up and I was like, I'm a dancer, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for a place. I was at a play and I got a call from somebody who looked at my ad. And I was like, well, I'm interested in this space. It looks amazing, but I have to be honest, like, my credit is not amazing. They were like, look, if you can pay the rent, you can prove that you have a job with a salary, then you're good. It was like, we don't care that, you know, they were like, you're 26 years old. And at that age, we all are making mistakes with our money, and then we're also trying to rebuild from that. So I was like so grateful, and everyone is not going to swoop in Dark Knight style and just be like, oh my gosh, I've been there. But you would think in a big place like New York, it would be more of it, but it's just, it's wild out here in these streets. And it's very hard to not have anxiety about it because I like to believe in being grounded. And this is a segue, and me and my horoscope and just my energy, my flow, like my chi, like everything for me culminates in a very, very rustic pot. Okay, I have carried this pot with me for 28 years, and I've been able to cook everything in it. I've been able to make soup. I've been able to make pasta. I've been able to put it in the oven for lasagnas. I have been able to bake a cake in this pot. This pot is a part of my home. This pot carries an essence of me that knows me when it was the only bag that I had. So what's hard is that when I don't have a place to put my pot, on a stove, in a cupboard for a while, you know, like you ever just go to your cabinet and you know exactly where something is at because you've been there for so long. Like you just know that, okay, of course the salt is right here. Oh yeah, the syrup is definitely over here. Oh, there goes the peanut butter. Imagine having to change where that thing is at every 4 months. Imagine going into the bathroom and not knowing if you have ibuprofen because you moved again and you don't know if you have that in this medicine cabinet. Imagine waking up and knowing that you have to find something by a certain deadline. And it's not something small. It's something where your things belong. It's something where you have put peace into and now you have to move it again. That is very hard for me. It's very difficult for me to let go of that. Moving to New York, I have let go of a lot of things. I have grown a lot. I've been here a year and a few months. I've seen a lot and I've been through so much. But I think the biggest thing that has been annoying is moving, which is why I was more inspired to get my own place. But it's hard not to get knocked down because, I mean, it's dirty out here. People are fighting in the streets about where they want to live, okay? And then on top of that, I have another life. Like, I have my dog. And a more selfish me would be like, I'm about to send his ass to a farm or send him back to Salt Lake to be with a friend so I can just get in a damn room. But he is my responsibility, so there's no way I can do that. And it's like, now I feel the pressure of me. I don't even have my dog now. So because the place I'm in, I don't allow pets. So it's like I'm going through this mind fuck of like, I know that he's super safe with my friends and he's taken care of, but it's like also like, oh, it's like that's just another thing to add on to. And it's like I don't want to go and repeat this same thing to my friends all the time, but I'm alone. You know, like I was talking to my mom, and I was telling her, I'm like, you know, this looking for a room thing is becoming, you know, a lot. And I told her, I'm like, it's difficult. And I try not to say things that are going to make my mom feel bad. But, you know, it's hard for me not to vent to her that I wish that I had some help. You know, like, I moved to New York, and I moved here with a partner who I'm not with anymore. We supported each other to get here. It was our money. Then I got a job. A few jobs, and now I have one big job. And immediately when I got that one big job, it changed my life. Now this big job that can really get me together, like I will be set. I have to move right as I got settled. I'm telling you, I put one damn nail in the wall and I said, let me hang this picture up. I'm gonna be here for a bit because Charlie was here with me. It was no complaints. I want to say literally a few days after I put this picture up, that's when I got the notice that Charlie can't be in my apartment. And that's when I'm like, okay, I have to find somewhere to move. I was able to take him to a friend to stay. But it's like, damn. You know, and it's so weird. Like, I don't really like have these moments of like, if I do this, then this is a sign of that. But I've been having crazy deja vu. And I knew that every time, like, you ever just get settled. Like when you hanging up a picture, like when you putting nails in a wall, like that's settled. Like you ready to just decorate. But I haven't been in that place really since I lived in New York. And it's like, is this the mindset that I have to be in the whole time I live here? Which is why I'm like, okay, I need to go ahead and invest in looking into my own place. Because I don't want to move into an apartment with roommates and then a roommate leaves and then I have to move again and I can't fill up this room. But then I also like being a social person. I like to talk to people. I don't know if I want to be alone. I mean, I can be alone, but who enjoys that? But then it's like, okay, well, you could live with roommates, but then you have to also think about the fact that you work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So if you get your own place, you will barely be there. So you'll be paying this amount of money for a space that you're waking up and going to sleep in. But you'll have security in yourself and all these things. So it's like, I'm going through this pros and cons list that is like every single day. And now I have this free time where like I'm looking in case something pops up. But then like you have to save the money, and then you have to explain why you're about the credit, and then they say get a guarantor. You're like, I don't have access to a guarantor. And I said this to this one guy, and he was like, oh my gosh, that sucks. And I was like, it really does. Because even if you go to something like Insurance or The Guarantor, which are websites that give New Yorkers guarantors, they vouch for you that you're going to pay the rent. You have to pay them a fee of like 15% of the year's rent. So you're basically paying first, last, and if you have a broker, there's a broker's fee, and you're paying for a guarantor. You need close to about $5,000 to move. Okay? I am going to I have to save up $3,000, okay, in 2 months. And that is a lot of money. And it's stressful. It's tiring. I'm not even tired. I'm just, I don't know what I am. Like, I want to settle, okay? I'm not a settling person, but I want to settle enough to where I can focus on why I am in New York, okay? It's becoming a lot, okay? I live around the corner from my ex, okay? My ex has my dog because my dog can't be here. I now make enough money, which is awesome, but then I have found ways to I'm behind in things, so I need to pay that off so I can do all this shit. It's a lot. And then on top of that, I'm doing it by myself, which is like great. No additional baggage. You don't have to worry about anybody else having their stuff together. You can have your stuff together, but it's all on you. You're in the ring with yourself. You're fighting no one but you. And that's what I'm up against right now. Like, it's a mind fuck. And I've been surrounding myself with friends that I've can when I've been able to go out to things, and I've been trying to like just distract myself. But being honest, this transition of my life has been one of the hardest ones ever. But like, it's been one of like the best. Like, it's something about like, and I'm gonna like connect this into the title of my podcast, Through the Fryer. It's something about coming out of that heat, right? And then you come out, you're formed, you feel yourself like done, like you've reached the temperature to come out of the fryer. But then you ever just like rush in to take that bite and you're like burnt, like top of your tongue, top of your mouth, your tongue, like it's just like and then you've already taken that bite and then you start to eat into it, but you don't have the taste buds to enjoy it, right? And it usually happens when it's things that you cook, things that you make, things that you put in the microwave too long. And you start to notice that this well-finished thing that you like cooked in this pot, your pot, is done and flavorful, and then you just take a taste of it because the brew is just the shit. and then you burn your tongue, and then you're like, and then you still try to eat it, because at this point you've already like teased your taste buds, and they're so interested in devouring this meal. So you go through it, you eat through it, even with the heat. You like start blowing it, and you're thinking like, okay, I can still enjoy this. But what happened if you would have just waited, been patient when it came out? Crispy, golden yumminess, okay? And what happened if you just trusted, if you just waited for it to cool down, that it wouldn't lose anything from it being done? Actually, it's going to cook more when it comes out of the heat, because it's still cooking. That's baking 101. When you take the cake out the oven, it is still cooking. Nothing is done. Nothing is finished. So now I'm reminding myself about patience. I'm reminding myself about time. I do not control time, okay? I cannot control 1-2 week check coming right after the next. I know it's going to come. I have to let that go, which is very difficult for me. And if you're someone like me who likes to see results and like to get shit done, this will be a difficult transition for you, as it is for me, because you're relying a lot of your trust in forces that you have no control over, and that is what's difficult. Now imagine your Storm of X-Men. Okay, she not only controls the wind, she controls the thunder, she controls the rain, the snow, the sleet. She is only commanding one element at a time. Okay? Now some elements are already set. Now Storm cannot walk into a full-on nuclear ice blitz and just take care of that. No, she's controlling elements. She does not have the ability to like control the world of it. She's one person. So am I. Shit, so are you. So I'm taking this time to reflect and also pat myself on the motherfucking back that I'm still here, that I'm standing, that I'm finding ways to nourish myself and pump up myself, because I don't have that anymore. Like, I had a person with me for 3.5 years that was my biggest cheerleader. And now it's not that I'm craving it, but you have to relearn how to do that for yourself. I've always been my biggest, like, whatever. But it's not easy. Change is not easy. Especially when you feel like you're being tested by elements. Life elements. That happens to everyone. My situation is not unique. I'm not the only one struggling looking for a room right now. Okay? I am one of the few people, okay, that are tall, handsome, can speak 2 languages. Uno, dos, tres, un, dos, trois. That's French and Spanish. That can sing a little bit of tap dance, okay, in the kitchen in your church shoes. That can cook stovetop and oven, okay? And that's a comedian. That I am unique in. But being poor, okay, looking for a room. I'm not poor no more. I'm gonna take that back, okay? But looking for a room, you know, everybody is doing it. So, yeah, I digress. You know, this is a difficult time. And I hope that from listening through this podcast that you know that whatever you're struggling with, you're never the only one. The only thing that's unique in it is you. That's literally the only unique situation. Like, there's literally another person going, like, probably on a podcast ranting and raving about the same thing I'm raving about. And literally the only difference is that they post theirs probably more consistently. And they probably gonna post it tomorrow. So, my little through the fryers, okay? Hopefully, not hopefully, this will work out for sure. I'm looking at myself in my mirror that's right in front of me as I say this. This will work out. I have manifested it. It's in the universe. I want to have my own place, but I don't want to rush it, you know? But I will have a place to be. Okay. I'm here in New York. I have a purpose here. I want to be here for a very long time. I actually want to settle here. I love it here. I've dreamt of being here, and I thought I wouldn't want to stay, but I'm going to stay. And I'm constantly seeing that it's easy to live here and not live. And that's crazy when you live in a place like New York and there's so much that you can go do. Okay? So, I'm sending love. I'm sending light. I'm sending you all the juju, but I am going to ask for it back. I need it. I would like a little bit more love and support. I feel like we're afraid to ask for it, but I would love it. Okay, through a text, an email, a reply, to just say that I got this, because even though I know I got it, it's nothing like somebody just making you feel like you got that and more. So I'm telling you, you got it. Where you at is where you need to be, but it's definitely not easy. I don't know what you're going through, but you're still standing, and even if you're not standing, you're still here. Okay, so you have the ability to get up or ask for help to get up, and just do that and love it. And I was going to talk about my moment during Christmas, which was but this moving stuff is really on my mind, and I'm moving forward. So I am going to come back for another podcast either on New Year's or the day after. Okay, and I just want to say much love and thanks for listening to a brand new podcast of Through the Fryer. Also, I'm going to be playing with a new intro going into next year. The one I've been using is cute, but I think I just want something classic. Maybe some jazz, okay? That's scat, kids. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.